Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making ref and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. If you jump on here live here on this Thursday evening, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. Tonight is a 2026 college football team season preview that I'll be doing. I try to do one of these per week between about the middle of May up until college football starts. Good evening, Keveron. Glad to have you here. And I believe either yesterday or today was your birthday. So happy birthday to you, Keveron. I wish you many, many more. As always, every day is a good day to be a Clemson Tiger fan. So far this year, I've done LSU, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, Ohio State, Penn State, Baylor, and that might be it. If so, tonight will be team number 9, so we'll probably get to around 15 or so by the time the season. And I try my best not to do teams that we all know are going to be 2-10, 1-11, because it's pointless. And I try my best not to do teams that we know aren't going to be awful, that are going to be really, really good, that are probably going to be playoff teams, because as long as you're in the playoffs, it doesn't matter if you're 11-1, 10-2, you're in the playoffs. The only reason I did Ohio State is because they lost so much talent that a lot of people think they're going to take not a huge step back, but a small step back this year and not be an automatic playoff team. But generally, I try to do teams that, either are on the cusp of going to a bowl game or on the cusp of maybe having a 9 or 10 win season, or on the cusp of making the playoffs. Because being really, really great or really, really bad is kind of pointless. Hey there, Monica. Glad to have you here. Hey there, Crystalline. Glad to have you here. Hey there, Jennifer. Glad to have you here. And the reason why I'm doing this team tonight is because something their coach said right after last season. So I've been looking forward to this. Now, sometimes people put too much stock into what coaches say. For example, we had the Big 12 media days not too long ago. Hey there, Alex. Glad to have you here, and I'm happy you're watching the stream. Monica, if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for being here. Feel free to give the video a like, a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends, tell your family all about the channel. Make sure to click that bell so you'll get notified whenever we go live. And give the video a like and a thumbs up, and I would greatly appreciate it. And this week we're having ACC Media Days, and I think I've listened to a total of 45 minutes of it, maybe an hour, because all the coaches primarily say the same thing. All the players primarily say the same thing. Thank you for subscribing, Alex. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're new here, thank you so much for being here. Because all the players are going to get on there and say, hey, I love my teammates. We're a great team. We're playing together, blah, blah, blah. And all the coaches say, hey, I love my team. I love what I've got. No teammate is going to go on media days and say, man, I hate playing for this team. I hate being here. Why did I come here? this is a waste of my time. Nobody says that. Nobody's going to say that. So to me, a lot of times the media days are pointless because you learn nothing, because the coaches and players aren't going to tell you anything they don't want you to know before the season starts. So you don't learn anything of relevance at all. It's just a way to get hyped up for your team in the season. But some people in general just put too much stock into what a coach says or what a player says. For example, John Harbaugh, who used to be the coach of the Ravens, he's now the coach of the New York Giants. Well, not long after he took the position, he did a press conference, and he said that hiring him made the Giants get one step closer to beating the Cowboys' butt. And only he didn't say but, and all the media was like, oh my gosh, you hear what he's saying? The Giants are terrible. They're not beating the Cowboys. Well, no, they're not. But what is he supposed to say? Well, I'm glad I'm the coach here, but God, we're awful. We're terrible. We may not win a game. Cowboys are going to kill us. Eagles are going to kill us. Commanders are going to kill us. Why am I at this job? He's not going to say that. So, of course, he's going to say that. What's he supposed to say? And it's kind of the same way with college coaches. They say stuff, and people are like, oh, man, you hear that? But after South Carolina's down season last year, when the season ended, like his first post-regular season press conference, I don't want to say postseason because that makes it sound like it was postseason and there was no postseason, but his first postseason press conference, Shane Beamer said, we're going to get better than this. I guarantee you we're going to be a playoff team next year. And are you asking Alex what his last name is? If so, he said be right back. So he's not on here right now, or she's not on here right now. But I have no idea what he or she's last name is. And I say he or she because Alex is one of those names that goes both ways. So I'm not sure who it is. So I don't even know what their last name is. But maybe they'll come back in a minute and you can re-ask them. But CIE, glad to have you here on this Thursday evening. But Shane Beamer went too far saying that. Now, see, he could have said, I guarantee you this team will not be this bad next year. We will improve next year. That's okay. But to be as bad as they were and to say we're going to be a playoff team next year, that's kind of going too far when South Carolina, even in their glory days of Steve Spurrier, has never made a playoff, never made a BCS bowl, none of that stuff. So to say that was kind of going too far. So I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and get on here and let's preview the South Carolina 2026 college football schedule. Hey there, Pizza Hut. Glad to have you here. Now we know that Kendall Briles is the new offensive coordinator. He has to be better than who they had last year. I won't say his name, but he was not very good. But I think, personally, Kendall Briles is overrated. He's one of those guys that does a lot of motions, a lot of shifts to pretty up the offense. But in reality, he's just an average play caller. Tottenham, I agree. Go. Clemson every day. It's a good day to be a Clemson Tiger fan. And Clayton White is now in his sixth season as the defensive coordinator. Now, Nick Harbor and Nitro Tuggle, I just said that name because, in fact, his name is Nitro Tuggle. But I think they'll be the two leading receivers. But South Carolina really just hasn't had a consistent passing game in a while. Nick Harbor's been there now, it seems like 20 years. And the man can flat out run, but he never gets the football. So if you don't have the ball, speed doesn't do you any good. But they open up the season on September the 5th against Kent State. And then they play Towson on September the 12th. Now remember, the SEC now plays 9 conference games. So South Carolina can't start the season with their 3 and then play 9 straight conference games because their last game of the season is a non-conference game. On September 19th, they'll play Mississippi State. September 26th, they'll play Alabama. And then they open up October on October the 3rd against Kentucky. And then October the 10th, they'll play Florida. And then they have their bye week. So they have 6 games, a bye week, and 6 games. So that's what you call having your bye week right smack dab in the middle of the season. Then they come back off their bye week on October 24th against Tennessee. And then on Halloween, they'll play Oklahoma. Open up November on the 7th against Texas A&M. On the 14th, they'll play Arkansas. On the 21st, they'll play Georgia. And then they'll wrap up the regular season Thanksgiving weekend on that Saturday, the 28th, against Clemson. Now, when I look over their schedule, I think the first 2 games, Kent State and Towson, are both easy wins. If they lose either one of those games, they should fire Beamer before the game actually ends. Those 2 teams are hideous. You can't find 2 worse non-conference teams to play. I've seen some high school teams that could beat Kent State and Towson. Then after that, I was looking over their schedule, and it does seem like not every year, but most years, South Carolina is one of those teams that most years, especially under Beamer, they always win a game somewhere they shouldn't win. And then they always end up losing a game somewhere they shouldn't lose. And that's not necessarily just a Shane Beamer thing. That's most teams, unless it's a team that's bottom 5 in FBS that just loses to everybody, or a team that's, top 3, top 4 that beats everybody. Outside of those 9 or 10 teams, just about everybody at college football is so evenly matched talent-wise that most teams every year have a game they win they shouldn't win, and have a game they lose they shouldn't lose. And that's why I hated back when Tommy Bowden was the coach at Clemson, and every year Clemson would go out and beat some team they had no business losing, and then the very next week they would just lose to some awful team. And the idiots at ESPN started wanting to say, oh, they're just Clemsoning. Well, first of all, that wasn't a Clemson thing. That was a Tommy Bowden thing. And second of all, that's most teams. You see it now on a regular basis where a highly ranked team loses to an unranked team, or a highly ranked team loses to a team that's, flat out awful. It happens all the time. So it's not just certain coaches. It's not just certain programs. It's about everybody. But South Carolina is one of those teams. So I think they beat Mississippi State. I think they beat Kentucky. And I think they beat Arkansas. Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Arkansas are probably the 3 worst teams in the SEC. And the Gamecocks got lucky playing all 3 of them. But the game I've got them winning that they probably shouldn't win is Alabama. Only because I was looking over their schedule and thought, now which one of these teams can they beat that they shouldn't beat that's going to be highly ranked? And the answer is Alabama, because if Tennessee is ranked, they're going to be, 23rd, 24th. Same way with Texas A&M. They're taking a step back this year. And, Georgia's top 5, but they're not beating Georgia. But I think they beat Alabama. That's the one win they'll get. They have no business getting. And then along the way, the one game that they lose, that they shouldn't lose, in my personal opinion, is Oklahoma. I'm just not sure Oklahoma's going to be any good, but I think they'll beat South Carolina. Hey there, Haywood. Glad to have you back. I see you are back, Alex. Glad to have you here. While you were gone, somebody asked what your last name was, and I couldn't tell them because I did not know. But nonetheless, glad you are back. And Haywood says Ohio State wins it. Oh, they might. Not saying they won't or they will, but Haywood, I'm not so sure. I don't think this Ohio State team is going to be as good as some of the ones they've had in the past. Not saying they're going 7-5 because they're not, but I personally don't think they're a national championship contender. But hey, I could be wrong. So I've got South Carolina in the conference beating the Bulldogs of Mississippi State, Alabama in an upset win, Kentucky and Arkansas. For whatever reason, South Carolina always plays really good against Alabama. I don't know why, but even back when Nick Saban was the coach and Bama was really, really good, every time they play South Carolina, the Gamecocks either beat them or darn near pulled it off. For whatever reason, they play really good against Alabama. So I'll give the Gamecocks that win in the conference along with Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Arkansas. So that's 4 SEC wins along with beating Kent State and Towson out of conference. That gives them 6 wins, and then they're going to have 6 losses. So 4-5 in the SEC, 6-6 overall. Is that enough for Beamer to keep his job? Honestly, I don't know. You always have the one side of the fan base that says, hey, if you don't win 10 games, fire the guy. And then you have the other side that says, hey, as long as you go 5-7, keep the guy. And if you think you're going 10-2 at South Carolina, I can go ahead and tell you, not happening. But for the side that says, hey, if we go 5-7, keep the guys, because most fans, what happens is you get this thought in your mind that you can't do better than what you have right now. So you'd rather keep Beamer and be, 5-7, 6-6, and 7-5, and maybe occasionally have an 8 or 9 win season than you would fire the guy and the next guy come in and all of a sudden you're struggling to win 3 games. So you're satisfied just being mediocre because you're scared that the next guy might come in and be less than mediocre. So that's why the side that says, hey, as long as we're 5-7, 6-6, keep the guy, that's why they say it. Because no, 5-7 or 6-6 is not very good. But if you have the option of 6-6 or 3-9, then as a fan, you're going to pick 6-6. So you'd rather keep Beamer around knowing that you're always going to be somewhere between 5-7 wins than trying to run him off and the next coach can't get to 3 wins. But, he's really only had one really good season at South Carolina, and outside of that, he hasn't done much. Honestly, I'm not sure why he's lasted this long, because if you look at his record, of course, now he's been there longer, so he's won more games, but after his 3rd season, he had the same exact win-loss record as Will Muschamp. And South Carolina wanted to run Muschamp out of town, and so did the fans. And for whatever reason, it seems like most of their fans are satisfied with Beamer. Now, not all. There's some that say he's got to go, but when Muschamp was there, it was every single Gamecock fan said, hey, this guy's got to go. But now with Beamer, it seems like the overwhelming majority says, hey, keep the guy, he's fine. And I'm not quite sure why, because he's the same level head coach that Will Muschamp was. So if they go 8-4, he's definitely back. But I just don't see 8-4. I don't see no way they beat Florida. I don't see them beating Oklahoma. I don't see them beating Texas A&M. I don't see them beating Georgia. I don't see them beating Clemson. So I think they're at minimum 4-win team. But I say at maximum, I think they're a 7-win team. There's just some games that I just don't see them winning. Now, a lot of the experts have them 5-7. I've got them 6-6 only because I've got them beating Alabama, because they, for some reason, traditionally play good against Bama. And generally, most of the time, every year, Beamer pulls off that one win he has no business getting. So I just picked one, and I picked Alabama. So I've got them 6-6. But most of the experts have them 5-7. But I just don't see any way that they go better than 7-5. But the 7-5 keep Beamer's job? Probably. 6-6 might. Depends on the outcome. Let's say that the 6 losses I have are the 6 losses they get, and let's say Florida beats you by 5, and Tennessee beats you by 6, and the Sooners beat you by 3, and A&M beats you by 5, and Georgia beats you by 10, and Clemson beats you by 6. You're probably okay because you were competitive in all your losses. But then if Florida beats you by 25, and Tennessee beats you by 20, and Georgia beats you by 30, and Clemson beats you by 25, probably not. So 6-6 is okay as long as it's 6 competitive losses. But I think 6-6 probably gets him gone if they lose those 6 games by combined 120 points, because then you weren't competitive. But I've got the Gamecocks 4-5 in the SEC, 6-6 overall. And this will be Shane Beamer's last year as a South Carolina football head coach. That is my prediction. Any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I'm so disappointed that Bobby Flay didn't name his daughter Sue. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon. It's like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family.